Hey, what's up everybody? Joshua Casper back at you with Plugin Boutique, and today we're checking out the brand new Forzo by Heavyocity. This is one of the most incredible brass instruments you can get your hands on, as is normal with Heavyocity. This particular instrument was recorded at the Skywalker Sound Recording Studio, and it was recorded in conjunction with award-winning sound mixer Satoshi Mark Noguchi and award-winning composer Jason Graves. Forzo itself is comprised of 3 instruments. There's the traditional brass instruments, which is further comprised of horns, trumpets, tenor trombones, contra trombones, tubas, and full ensembles. Then there is the brass designer and brass loop designer. So in this video, we're actually going to be checking out the brass loop designer because I think it really showcases what's possible with Forzo. So we're looking at the loop designer right here on the page, and it's got a lot going on. There are pages upon pages upon pages inside of here with parameters that are tweakable and sequenceable and effects and just so much goodness. You really don't need to load anything else, and you can just be inside of here forever getting lost inside of these beautiful sounds. So the first thing I'm going to do is load a different snapshot. And while I'm on the subject, if you come up here, you can see that we've got a bunch of different types of snapshots. And right now I'm on performance. And again, I think this really showcases what's possible inside of Forzo. So this is where I'm going to stick, but you can get into some straight with the lows, the mids, the highs, and so on. Then those samples reversed. And then we have triplet format, and again, triplet reversed. Then we also have the straight all macros off and the triplet all macros off. And that's because there's a bunch of macro controls. And we're going to get into that in a second. So I'm just going to go ahead and choose performance combo 1. Look how fast it loads, super quick. And go ahead and press the C on my keyboard. And if you look down here on the keyboard inside of the contact player, I'm going to be pressing this C right here, the purple one. So when I did that, you might have noticed that 3 other keys were pressed in conjunction when I just pressed that one key on my keyboard. And that's what the loop designer is all about. These 3 sections here correspond to these 3 sections up here. That's where the designer part of this comes in. If you look over here, we've got a designer tab. If I click that, so right here, you can start designing what happens with the designer keys. If you see right here, it says designer keys. This is C1 through B1. And as I cycle through these, you can see that it's updating up here. So it's really easy to change these, and it's really difficult to make something that doesn't sound good because of how dope all of the samples already are. So if I press C1, and right now it's triggering this, that, and over here, but if I could just go ahead and press this, that, and this one, watch what happens when I press C1 now. Boom. Now watch what happens. Change it, change it, change it. Let's press that same C1 again. Is that not incredible? I'm just randomly choosing keys to combine, and every time it sounds absolutely phenomenal. And that is the power of Forzo. And obviously, once you get in and start using some of the traditional instruments, which by the way are absolutely incredible and have a lot of nifty features that I hope to cover in a future video, you can really make some of the most incredible sounding brass parts for your compositions that I think you can imagine. The sound quality is just out of control. I know I'm gushing, but I really, really dig this instrument. So let's just leave this for now. This is where the designer comes in, but as I said before, let's go ahead and jump into the main page again. In fact, let's jump over to Master Effects. I think it's a good place to start. So down here, we've got Master Effects, which is going to affect everything, the combination of these 3 as it leaves the instrument. So we have filtering, distortion, chorus, delay, and reverb, and each one of those has its own set of parameters. Some really great convolution reverb inside of here. We go ahead and you turn it on if you want to use it, and then you have your normal kind of standard parameters. You can hear that reverb. The delay is the same thing. You turn it on. Just turn it off if you don't want to use it. And then we have the 2 kind of world famous proprietary macro knobs by Heavyocity. We've got the punish and the twist knob. The punish is like a distortion amplification effect. If I go ahead and turn it down, You can see that things get really bright, loud, and crunchy. Turn that back off. And the twist is kind of like a tremolo effect with some other nifty things going on. So those are very, very cool macro knobs on top of them. But not only do we have these two sort of macro effects, we have our own macro of control right here in the middle. And it's got a really great animation. If I turn this, look at this. It's so dope. We can add any of these 6 effects that are on the outside of this circle to this macro control. So if I jump into the macro sequencer and turn this on, it will actually move the position of the ball around the center to whatever sequence we have. So if I come in and turn it on like this and then hit a key, and you'll see that it's kind of jumping with the steps. We can actually smooth that out. So let's just leave it on that. It makes my life a little bit easier than having to change the macro knob by myself. So next thing we can do is come into something like the filter. Just click the name and you'll see the parameters down here. Now, not only that, but you'll have options to add the filter to the bank 1, bank 2, and bank 3 independently. So you can add different styles of effects, or you can link them and affect all 3 of them. I'm going to turn the link off. So let's go for bank 1. And what I want to do is turn it on. And you'll notice that this ball is now beginning to move in conjunction with this ball. And not only that, but this parameter that has automation added to it, it's moving there as well. So if I solo bank 1, and if I turn it all the way down, so it's going to be completely closed, and we got low pass, perfect, and we turn it on. Isn't that cool? If we want to reverse that, the simplest way is to click this right here. And now it's just going to be reversed from the ball position. It's not going to reverse where the starting and end points are. It's just going to reverse how it moves in conjunction with this ball. All right, so let's jump into bank 2. And again, you got to make sure to turn these things on. It's very helpful that there's on-off buttons just in case you forget, but you need to remember that. So I'm going to turn it on this, and this time I'm going to go the opposite way. I'm going to pull this all the way up like this. And let's go ahead and just mute this third one for a second. So this is quite useful. As you can see, once we start filtering stuff, we can really make quite long sequences. On top of filtering, we also have EQing. Again, we can automate any of these curves over time. We got to turn it on here and here, and you'll see that that's happening there as well. Very, very useful. Envelopes. You know, if you want to add an attack here, that might be useful. I think for the most part, I just leave this alone, especially in the loop designer, because they are kind of pre-sculpted loops. We do got a drive with distortion and saturation built in. Again, each bank can be affected independently, or we can link them. We do have a gate effect. And then we got space. Space is reverb and delays. Again, you got to turn it on here, you got to turn it on there, and you need to turn it on here if you want it to be working. Let's just go ahead and check out some other ones. Performance, combo 3, for example. It just sounds so good. So back to these 3 right here, they also can be automated. Anything with these up, down, left, right arrows here can be automated. So as I move this, the volume will be automated with the macro control. And another really cool thing about this and the macro controls, as you're changing the different banks down here, your macro control settings will stay the same, and that's the same if you switch any of the banks up here as well. So I've just been using the designer keys, but you can trigger any of the samples by themselves. So you can actually start performing with these as well. And because of how well they all fit together, no matter what you do, it's always going to sound great. Isn't that awesome? There's one other thing I want to touch on before I jump out of this video, and that is the tuning down here. You'll see that it's on C right now. If we want to pitch shift it up, we can either use our keyboard or we can just click right here. So I'm going to go ahead and just hit the C1 macro designer key and then shift it up. And it's very useful once you've pitch shifted anything here using your keyboard or even this keyboard inside a contact or your MIDI clip, you'll always see the purple one, the purplish one here is going to be the home position. So if you ever want to go back to how they're supposed to sound originally, just go ahead and click right there and you'll be ready to go. So you can see right there, I'm pressing a designer key, but then I'm adding more keys of the high motif range just by using other keys on the keyboard. So it's just an incredible instrument, and this is just a quick look at the brass loop designer. Not what's possible with it. I'm just trying to give you an overview of it itself, and hopefully I'll be able to do some more tutorials on this thing soon because the brass designer is incredible, and even obviously the traditional instruments are just mind-blowing how well these things were put together and made, and they just sound absolutely phenomenal. So anyway, I'm Joshua Casper here for Plug-in Boutique. I hope you learned something. Definitely go check out this instrument. Links in the video description, and I will see you in the next video.